All right, let's make sure everyone's here before we start chapter 41.
Yep.
And here we go. Yahuwah's challenge continues, chapter 41. Can you catch Leviathan with a hook or put a nose around its jaw? Can you tie it with a rope through the nose or pierce its jaw with a spike? Will it beg you for mercy or implore you for pity? Will it agree to work for you, to be your slave for life? Wow. Can you make it a pet like a bird or give it to your little girls to play with? Will merchants try to buy it and sell it in their shops? Will its hide be hurt by spears or its head by a harpoon? If you lay a hand on it, you will certainly remember the battle that follows. You won't try that again. No, it is useless to try to capture it. The hunter who attempts it will be knocked down, and since no one dares to disturb it, who then can stand up to me? Who has given me anything that I need to pay back? Everything under heaven is mine. I want to emphasize Leviathan's limbs and its enormous strength and graceful form. Who can strip off its hide and who can penetrate its double layer of armor? Who could pry open its jaws? For its teeth are terrible. Its scales are like rows of shields. Tightly sealed together, they are so close together that no air can get between them. Each scale sticks tight to the next. They interlock and cannot be penetrated. When it sneezes, it flashes light. Its eyes are like the red of dawn. Lightning leaks from its mouth. Huh, lightning, interesting.
What verse are you?
Verse 19. Smoke streams from its nostrils like steam from a pot heated over burning rushes. Its breath would kindle coals, for flames shoot from its mouth. The tremendous strength in Leviathan's neck strikes terror wherever it goes. Its flesh is hard and firm and cannot be penetrated. Its heart is hard as rock, hard as a millstone. When it rises, the mighty are afraid. Gripped by terror, no sword can stop it. No spear, dart, or javelin. Iron is nothing but straw to that creature, and bronze is like rotten wood. Arrows cannot make it flee. Stones shot from a sling are like bits of grass. Clubs are like a blade of grass, and it laughs at the swish of javelins. Its belly is covered with scales as sharp as glass. It plows up the ground as it drags through the mud. Leviathan makes the water boil with its commotion. It stirs the depths like a pot of ointment. The water glistens in its wake, making the sea look white. Nothing on earth is its equal. No other creature so fearless. Of all the creatures, it is the proudest. It is the king of beasts. So, pretty interesting characteristics I see there. Proud, pride. That kind of shouted out to me. A lot of resembles light. Interesting. Oh yeah, lightning. That kind of shout out at me. I don't know. That's pretty interesting to me. Metaphors that were used.
I think stood out to me was verse 10. Yeah, verse 10 where it says, "None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me?" It's like out of this creature that's so powerful and so majestic, people can't stand against him, let alone stand before Yahuwah. You know, nobody wants to arouse him, let alone arouse Yahuwah, who obviously made it more powerful.
Yeah, it's kind of like you fear creatures like this, but you don't fear me. So, who wants to read 42?
You want to take it?
Yeah, I guess I'll take it home.
Can I add something right quick?
Oh yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. I thought it was interesting in this chapter how the Most High is using, first of all, just the Leviathan in general, which is a creature that, most people don't even have an understanding of. But if you just take a look at the context of the entire chapter, like if you think about the fact that the Most High is like an immeasurable being, it's interesting to see how he's like basically putting himself in a size that Job can understand. Like even with these descriptions, he's giving a description of something that Job still can understand him saying it to him. So for example, like he doesn't have to use these exact descriptions, or like he could use something like way beyond Job's understanding. Because like, if you get in a moment where you're feeling yourself or you're in pride or whatever, you could ask somebody about something that they think they have an understanding of, and then you could say a word or a term that they don't understand to leave them in a blank space to where they can't say anything. But he's giving all descriptions of things that Job can actually have the mind to see and understand what the Most High is talking about. So I think that's pretty interesting to see just here in that chapter. And like he's saying that he's basically in control because he's like the only one that can do all these things once again. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Sweet. Like the point. Point taken, John. 2 for 2.
Wow.
No,
All praises.
I like it. I like it. Things, even while as we're reading, we can more relate to it, understand it.
So chapter 42, and this is the last chapter. Then Job replied to Yahuwah, I know that you can do anything and no one can stop you. You asked, who is this that questions my wisdom with such ignorance? It is I, and I was talking about things I knew nothing about. Okay. Humble. Things far too wonderful for me. You said, listen, I will speak. I have some questions for you, and you must answer them. I had only heard about you before, but now I have seen you with my own eyes. I take back everything I said. That seems kind of contradictory because Scripture actually says no man has seen like Yahuwah. Like, that's a little weird. It seems like Job is claiming that he's actually looking at Yahuwah, like he's seeing him face to face.
Speaking to him in a whirlwind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not in like his full.
Oh, okay. All right, never mind. And I sit in dust and ashes to show my repentance. After Yahuwah had finished speaking to
Wait, hold on. This is interesting.
So he's acknowledging his sin.
Yeah, it's almost like, how do I put it? It's like, I know from the beginning he's righteous, right? But I keep thinking about you, Doug. Like everything, you were saying in regards to how he was coming about. Now I know the words that his friends were saying were off because he was going to say that, but in the sense of, I think what Job is repenting from is not necessarily sin as to what happened before his children, but in the sense of, he mentioned things of how great Yahuwah is, but he really lacks the full understanding to even really understand. Like what John was saying before, Yahuwah is saying all this so because it's beyond what Job can even answer and comprehend. And it was the same way what Yahuwah was doing to him. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, even a righteous person is not without sin. So, he could be realizing where he messed up, or he could just be realizing, man, I'm not without sin, and I better be repenting. I got Yahuwah angry at me. I better start repenting.
I think it's the verse 3 where it says, who is he that hides counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that I understand not, things too wonderful for me, which I knew not. He was speaking of things beyond his comprehension. Because I still don't think it was a sin, but beforehand when all his children were, died and everything, because it talks about him being righteous and look at my servant. Have you not considered him and things of that sort? So,
Verse 7. After Yahuwah had finished speaking to Job, he said to Eliphaz the Temanite, I am angry with you and your two friends, for you have not spoken accurately about me as my servant Job has.
that's so interesting.
Wow. And Eliphaz is,
That was the
God
first
of
one.
gold, the guy all about prosperity.
That's the one that had that vision. Remember, spirit
Yeah.
that was form, but he couldn't understand its form.
Mm.
But he says, "You have not spoken. You or the two friends have not spoken rightly of me, as Job has." So he's still saying Job spoke truth to Yahuwah.
So take 7 bulls and 7 rams and go to my servant Job and offer a burnt offering for yourselves. My servant Job will pray for you, and I will accept his prayer on your behalf. I will not treat you as you deserve. So Yahuwah is going to have mercy on them, even though they deserve to be destroyed. For you have not spoken accurately about me as my servant Job has.
Hold on. So even here, Yahuwah is still talking about how Job is a servant and has spoken rightly of Yahuwah, and he's mentioning just Eliphaz and his two friends. But I'm jumping the gun. Go ahead.
No, I see where you're
Go ahead.
going. So Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite did as Yahuwah commanded them, and Yahuwah accepted Job's prayer. When Job prayed for his friends, Yahuwah restored his fortunes. In fact, Yahuwah gave him twice as much as before. Then all his brothers, sisters, and former friends came and feasted with him in his home. And they consoled him and comforted him because of all the trials Yahuwah had brought against him. And each of them brought him a gift of money and a gold ring.
Pause. In verse 9, you actually brought up a point that, okay, maybe I'm going to have to take my words back. In verse 9, it says, So Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Ammonite, Naamathite, went and did according. These were the 3 friends, right? But it doesn't mention Eliyahu,
Yeah,
the
Eliyahu.
youngest one that spoke.
Yeah, I don't think he's included in Job's friends. This guy was not part of their circle. Yeah, so it sounds.
I might have to take my words in. Yeah.
Unless I'm mistaken, I don't think Yahuwah is rebuking that guy either.
Yeah,
So.
I don't see him in the mix for yourself. That's definitely a correction on my part.
So Yahuwah blessed Job in the second half of his life even more than in the beginning. For now he had 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, and 1,000 teams of oxen.
Okay, hold on.
And
Hold on. Oh, I keep muting and unmuting.
sorry, because
Okay, go ahead, Dira.
I was gonna say 2 things. Eliyah, pretty much his name, Eliyah. I don't know if that has any meaning to it, but and also in 42:12, it just goes to show you that if you endure till the end, you'll be blessed, you'll be saved, you'll prosper as long as you endure to the end. That's all.
I think his name means
Yah
is my Elohim.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Because El means Elohim
Yeah.
and Yah is Yahuwah's name.
Right.
So
Yeah, I
if
think
you
it is
put
Yah
that
is my
together, I mean, that's how I usually figure out the definition of their names.
Yeah, I'm about to get it. 5 seconds.
Because there's a prophet also named Eliyahu, so this is the common name.
And it means, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
This
He is my Elohim, yep. Well, yeah, it's my Elohim. Yeah.
Right.
Good stuff.
So verse
Endure to the
13,
end.
he also gave Job 7 more sons and 3 more daughters. He named his first daughter Yemimah, the second Kaziyahu, and the third Keren Ooh,
Can you go through these names?
yeah, sure. The Karen one I've never heard of before.
The first name means day by day. The second one means Hastia. I don't even know what that word is in English. Hastia.
Kezia, one says Keziah.
Oh, you're a woman in Russia.
Like, oh gosh.
It's like Russian.
Yes. Yeah, this is
And it's a tree, it's a type of shrub, a plant, the aromatic bark of an Eastern Asian tree.
that's interesting.
The next one means day by day tree.
Yeah.
Next one means corn of antimony.
Ooh, I would not want to be naming my daughter that. Antimony? I don't think so. Verse 15. In all the land, no women were as lovely as the daughters of Yod. Interesting. And their father put them into his will along with their brothers.
Okay, so women are in the will. Just had to throw that out there.
Yod lived 140 years after that. Wow, he must have been an old guy. Living to see 4 generations of his children and grandchildren. Then he died, an old man who had lived a long, full life. And that is the end of Yod.
God bless.
What is the sum of the matter? And I think Zero hit it. Endure to the end.
And
To the
you
end.
shall be saved.
You guys have any last words on Yod?
I'm good.
Know that Yahoo will test you. Test all.
Yeah, you're not above everyone.
Wow.
Just because we live accordingly to his laws and we try to be righteous doesn't mean we're above someone else. Wow.
And on a mental note, when people are going through hard times and they don't believe they have sinned, believe it might be a test
Mm-hmm.
rather than
Just jumping the gun.
jumping the gun
Yeah.
and blaming them for sins that they have not committed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Be careful about false accusations.
Yes.
Which is weird because Elihu didn't get rebuked and he's the
He
one
didn't.
saying all that stuff.
Seven, which is very
He said the same stuff Eliphaz said. Almost.
So.
That's interesting. I would love to find out on that day.
good stuff. Well, that was the end of Yod. Anybody, Zero or John, have any last
Oh, man.
words?
No,
Negativo?
did it still good as me.
Good stuff.
I'll
Well,
show you guys.
shalom, shalom, all.
Shalom.